Hello and welcome back. So, news has just come in that Russia has defaulted on its foreign debt. The question is what is the impact that we'll see because of this debt default? So, the impact on Russia, the impact on the investors who have given money to Russia, and also for the world economy. What will be the impact of on all of these three stakeholders? We'll understand in this particular video. Okay, so let's just first understand the context of the default. So the context is Russia has defaulted on its foreign debt for the very first time since it had done almost a century ago. The last time that Russia had defaulted was more than 100 years back during the Bolshevik Revolution. Since then, Russia has never defaulted on its foreign debt. A 30-day grace period was given on interest payments, which was due on May 27, but even that has expired. According to Russia, it's not that they don't have money. It is just that because of the sanctions by US and the European Union, Russia is unable to pay its debt, which is a fact. It's not that Russia does not have money to pay back its foreign debt. It's just that Russia doesn't have access to its money in foreign countries so that it can pay its debt to the investors. Okay, so that is the context of the default. It mainly is because of the war that Russia cannot access its own money. Okay, the question is, how much does Russia owe to its foreign investors? Russia owes about $40 billion in foreign bonds, and half of that 40 billion is to the foreigners. Okay, half of it is to its own citizens, but half of it is to the foreigners. Its foreign debt is around $40 billion. Before the start of the war, Russia had a very healthy foreign reserve. It's around $640 billion of foreign currency and gold reserves. Okay, and but the problem was much of this was held overseas, and due to the sanctions by US and the European Union and Europe, that is, all of that is frozen now. So Russia has that money in foreign reserve, but it just cannot pay back. You see, it has $640 billion in foreign currency reserves, and its just debt is just $40 billion, very less. Okay, even after paying the debt, Russia will have around $600 billion in foreign reserve. So it's not that Russia does not have the money; it's just that its accounts are frozen. Now the question is, what would be the impact of Russia's default? A default would not mean anything to Russia economy right now. The simple reason is that it has not borrowed internationally in years, and also because the sanctions it anyway cannot borrow. Okay, so right now, even without the default, what is going on will happen. It does not have access to its own money abroad. But in the long run, this will have a big impact on Russia. You see, someday the war will get over, and gradually Russia's economy has to again stand up. For this, Russia would need foreign money. Russia would need debt, even more debt, to come out of the doldrums. Okay, but that time, since Russia's credit ratings are already very low, it will be very difficult for Russia to get external funding. You see, every country, every business has a credit rating. Okay, it has credit rating. Now, since Russia's credit rating will be very low as a result of this default, it will be very difficult for Russia to borrow money in the future whenever it needs to. Okay, so this is the impact that Russia will have. Now, for the investors who have bought Russian bonds, okay, now for them it will be a huge loss, a serious loss. More so because no one knows when the war is going to get over, right? No one knows when the war is going to get over. So this makes it a very tricky situation for the investors. For the world economy, however, it will have a rippling effect. You see, now investors around the world, okay, for the global debt market, they will be more risk averse. Investors will think twice before investing in bonds of other countries. Okay, this will have a rippling effect on the global debt market because investors will get more risk averse right now. Now, the important question is, what can investors do in this situation? To be very honest, they can do very less. In normal circumstances, what happens is that whenever a country or say any company defaults on its bond payments, on its repayments, usually a negotiation happens, and then the bondholders are given new bonds. which are usually less than the actual bond that they bought, but at least they'll get some partial compensation, right? So what it means is that suppose this is a country A which has defaulted on its bond payment. Okay, defaulted bond payment. Now what happens to the bondholders? See, B is a bondholder. Okay, so B and A will negotiate and say, you know what, in the initial days we had A had promised that I'll give you 8% return on your bond, but right now you see I have defaulted, I do not have that money. Let me issue another bond. Okay, in that new bond I cannot pay you 8%, but I'll pay you 5%. Okay, now for the bondholder, of course, it's a loss, but at least it's not losing out on its entire money. It is losing out on at least 3%, but it's not losing out on the entire money. It is still getting some money back. Okay, so this negotiation happens under normal circumstances. But right now, this negotiation cannot happen with Russia. The war is on. Russia is like, we have the money. It's just that because of the sanctions, we cannot pay you back, right? And we do not know what the value of the money that we have once the war gets over. What will be the value that will be there? The value of the bonds that will be there, right? When the war gets over. So right now, the investors cannot do much. They can just be patient for now. Okay, this is the only thing that they can do. They can be patient for now. They can just hope that the war gets over very soon. Russia again gets back to normalcy, and their money, they can get back their money, at least some part of the money. But again, this is something that's not going to happen anytime soon. Investors know that. They just have to be very patient for now. At least they have to forget their money right now, the money that they have given to Russia. Okay, so this is what they can do. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you understood the impact that Russian debt default will have on Russia, on investors, that is the bondholders, and on the world economy. Thank you so much for watching. I'll be back again with another exciting video. Till then, take care and do subscribe to the channel if you like the content that I'm doing. Thank you so much.